10% of all the new cars sold in Iowa come from the Carl Auto Group. Our neighbors trust us to have the largest selection and the highest standards. To our current customers, thank you. And to our future customers, see for yourself why Carl drives Iowa.
Your dealer for life, it's the Carl way.
I'm Chris Williams from Cyclone Fanatic and a proud Iowa State graduate from the class of 2007. No one shows up like Iowa State fans.
And Cyclones support Cyclones on and off the field.
Your gift can provide scholarships to students, fund groundbreaking research. We could even drum up opportunities for the marching band. Visit MoveWhatMatters.com to learn how you can make an impact today.
Chris Williams, Brent Blum, from the Wild Rose Casino Studio. It's Williams and Blum, presented by Mechdyne, on the Cyclone Fanatic Podcast Network.
What is up? It is Thursday, the 29th of May. Williams and Blum, Wednesday on a Thursday. Welcome to the show. How are you, Blum?
Great. Sun's out. Golfing tomorrow. I'm happy.
We didn't have a lot of news coming from the SEC other than just a bunch of pandering. However, we do have scheduled news, which we will get to today. Mike Leach is going to the College Football Hall of Fame.
Happy for you.
For me.
Happy for you.
I mean, come on. Like, just a total common sense move. People made their... Well, he's not technically in the Hall of Fame. He's eligible for it, is what they've said.
We got to get him in.
What was he, like, one win away?
Yeah, because it was you had to win 70% of your games, which is super random. And he was at 69.5. So they lowered the threshold to 69.5. Or excuse me, from 60 to 59.5.
There you go.
There you go, coach.
Well,
not the same without him around.
And, I mean, it's just common sense that when you coach in Lubbock, Starkville, and Pullman, it's a little more difficult to hit certain thresholds, and that's what makes him the GOAT.
No doubt.
He always refused to sell out and go to, like, the big program because he wanted to show that he could do it in other places. That's why he's the greatest of all time. Anyways, so congrats, Coach. Love you, buddy. We do have scheduled news. We'll get to that, and then we are going to tackle some of your mailbag questions later on in the program. Are presented, as always, by our friends at Mechdyne, the Mechdyne Corporation. And we were told this week by a birdie that they have sales positions open in Marshalltown and over in one of their Illinois offices, too, in Naperville, I believe. They are looking for salespeople at Mechdyne. So we're always telling you guys, go to the job board, Mechdyne, see what they've got. They are seeking sales help in these locations. They want Iowa State grads at Mechdyne.
And they're growing like crazy, so clearly the product is working.
Clearly.
So as a quasi sales professional myself, you wanna join a winner. It makes sales a lot easier.
Very much so.
With good leadership, that's important too.
That's the key. If you have a bad leader, everything sucks.
Not so fun. But no, this would be a great opportunity for somebody. And again, we always say to folks, Mechdyne's more than just engineers and software folks. It takes a whole operation: accounting, sales, marketing, the whole gamut, really.
Very much so. Also, want to give a shout out to our friends at Cody Road Bourbon. Go up and pick yourself a bottle up for the weekend. Okay, so we have game schedules. So the big news today is that the Fox Big Noon Kickoff will be in Ames for the Cy-Hawk game. And a lot of us probably have some PTSD when it comes to these pregame shows showing up in Ames for the Cy-Hawk game. Hasn't exactly fared well for Iowa State thus far. What do you think?
I love it. Let's
Good.
go.
Yeah, that's
I know
the right way to look at it.
It's this, again, don't look at, history does not indicate future performance, for one. SEC should learn that, by the way. But to have this, it's a perfect example at the perfect time for so many people, Chris, as a reminder of how powerful college football is in the state of Iowa.
Great point.
You literally had 80 destinations they could go to, and they picked the Cy-Hawk game in Ames to showcase these two in-state programs. And yeah, you're going to get both sides saying, hey, well, Iowa State's only had Big Noon or Game Day because Iowa's coming to town. Well, it's the same for Iowa, by the way. You haven't had one since 2006 either, I don't think. Anyway, but it shows to me, to the state, to the businesses here, is like, look how important this is. Let's value this because you have literally, C-Dub, it's a 6-hour infomercial for the state of Iowa. Where else can you buy that? The answer is, other than the Iowa caucuses, you can't. And even that's not really an infomercial. I looked it up before we came on. Guess what the average viewership for the Big Noon Kickoff has been? The amount of people over the last 3 years that have watched that game. Average.
4, 5?
8 million people.
Woo!
It's the most watched window over the last 3 years. Big Noon Kickoff is. More than Saturday Night Primetime, more than that 2:30 slot for CBS. It has been Big Noon Kickoff. So people are going to watch this. Not to mention you get the 2-hour pregame with what I think is honestly a better program right now than Game Day in some respects.
Well, that doesn't guarantee we'll get Klatt and Johnson, but it's
pretty likely.
Yeah,
it's pretty likely. And
Klatt's the best color guy in the game.
And it's
in
just
my opinion. I think he's considerably better than Herb Street.
Yeah, I think Klatt's really good. I wish he'd be a little more respectful to Big 12, but for a Big 12 guy, I do. Oh, SEC bias over the years.
Oh, stop it! The SEC people hate Klatt because he's constantly critical.
I'm quasi kidding, but I don't think any national people are nice enough to the Big 12. But this is good.
That's fair. Okay, I can handle that comment, but singling him out as an SEC
I'm not.
is insane.
I'm not Klatt individual. Just the lack of coverage. But this is great for them to choose a game at a Big 12 school when Fox doesn't really have too many Big 12 inventory. This is awesome. This is outstanding. So happy for both. Don't think about the bad times with Eric Church and everything else and Ashton Kutcher. There's no guest picker for this thing.
Ruining my favorite artist. Yeah. Just a bad way that whole thing went down.
But
the worst part about that day, it was the rain and the
it was a great pregame. It was a great the whole thing was honestly. The first quarter and a half was awesome. And
I don't think Iowa State loses that game without the rain. It's just a reality. It was a totally different game. Iowa responded really well to that delay, and Iowa State did not. Iowa State was playing really good football.
Yeah, it was like 10-0 or 7-0, and Iowa State was driving.
Yeah.
Interestingly, a little fun fact for that game for you NBA fans. Do you know who our official visitors were for that game on the basketball side? You ready for this little fun fact, this little nugget? Taman Lipsey had an unofficial visit that day. That turned out well. And then two guys that visited to see Coach Prohm were Jalen Suggs, now at the Orlando Magic, and Chet Holmgren.
Wow.
For your NBA Finals Oklahoma City Thunder.
Chet Holmgren was on an official visit that day?
He was on the field that day.
Wow.
Yes. Obviously
That's
did not.
Crazy. Good poll right there.
Neither he or Jalen Suggs went to Iowa State. They went to Gonzaga, but they were there.
Speaking of former Cyclones, I don't want to give too much away. I almost tweeted it out last night, but I interviewed Melvin Ejim yesterday for my book.
Legend.
Oh my gosh. What an amazing Cyclone that guy was and continues to be. And I told him, I was like, man, Mel, he is one of my 5 favorite Cyclones of all time, any sport. I wish that I could just watch all of his games and I was like, send me a link. I want to buy your jersey. Because
he's getting up there now in professional years. He's 35.
Me and him talked about what he wants to do afterwards.
Yeah.
But what a compelling story. And I'm going to tell his story in detail in the book. He's one of my centerpieces that I'm really digging deep into. But this guy somehow one of the greatest players in program history is I believe underappreciated. Like I don't know how, but somehow he is, because he was often overshadowed by transfers and oftentimes the head coach. Fred was such a superstar.
He was.
Yeah. But that guy, we talked about the BYU game where he gave him the double bird, all that good stuff. But yeah, you mentioned former Iowa State basketball players, and that came to mind.
Well, and it just, to tie everything. So he was the Big 12 Player of the Year, I believe.
Yeah. Only
one in this since Tinsley that has won Big 12 Player of the Year. Do I have that right? None of the recent guys did, right? No, I don't think they did. But I compare him to David Montgomery. I mean, that's
a good point. Yeah, really good point. Can I steal that?
You can steal that. When Melvin came, Iowa State was a zero. Like literally,
people forget he committed to Greg McDermott.
He did back when in the rough era. He committed to TJ. He was a TJ guy, which is why it's cool.
He was a TJ guy, but the head coach was McDermott, and then stuck it out. Fred promotes TJ to associate. That's the other thing that I think that I'm going to paint a pretty good picture of is I don't think casual fans gather how deep TJ's fingers go into this whole program as far as like
all of it.
Real icons of the last 20 years are pretty much all Otzelberger guys.
It's really since post Tinsley, this has been all TJ's fingerprint over the last 20 years. It really has been.
Completely agree, and he's just now the head coach, but he's had a direct impact. And the smartest thing Fred Hoiberg did when he got the job was promote TJ Otzelberger on day one, because he saw that. He knew that.
I love Fred. Fred would admit if he didn't have TJ on that staff, the thing flames out miserably, like quickly, like bad. TJ got that thing rolling because he had all the relationships with the Brewster Academies of the world to get at Melvin Ejim and to get those transfers, and everything kind of fell into place from there.
I'm not going to tell the story, but Melvin told me a great story of playing at the Brewster Academy in one of those tournaments out east, and they played a team called the Tilton School with a young, boisterous forward who was talking a lot of shit during that game.
Who could that be?
Well, wait and tell that story in the book.
That's awesome. No, but so anyway, I know people are like, oh man, the traffic's gonna be bad, and my parking.
This is big time college football. You gotta calm down.
We need to blow this way out of the water because you need all the eyeballs you can get to show our state legislators, hey,
that's what I was going to say. Can we duct tape them to a pole and make them watch everybody in the economy work?
Right. I mean, how much money is going to be generated just from that game? Not to mention the marketing value, and you're a marketing guy, the earned media is in the literally tens of millions of dollars.
Well, we're already talking about it.
And yet, anyway, I mean, we can't get Iowa State money from the university right now, from the athletic program because of the state. So again, all these things, maybe we'll harp on it too much, but there's so much to college athletics in the state that this is another great example of 6 hours of Iowa State college athletics in front of 8 million people. You can't buy that. You literally can't buy that.
Aiden's got the other kick times I can see ready to roll here. The ones that were announced today. We knew the Kansas State game would be 2:30 local here. That'll be like
it's 11. It's 11 here.
I'm sorry. That is the South Dakota game.
Yeah.
So that game is on Fox?
Yeah, Big Fox.
Well, I mean, so Iowa State's getting some good TV time.
ESPN, Fox, ESPN2.
That's pretty good, especially when you consider the South Dakota game and the Arkansas State game are on national like that.
Truthfully, that's, get Arkansas State on ESPN2 is a win. I thought that might be a plus or a U.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
This is all, honestly, the 11 a.m. start for Iowa is great. It's been 3 or 4 o'clock a couple times the last few, and it's just too much. It's too much names. People can't handle it. Can't do it.
At least there's not going to be like political.
It's not a year, right?
No. But I just remember the last time Trump came and like because you got Secret Service and like it was wild.
I had Ron DeSantis sitting 2 rows in front.
Yeah, it was crazy.
That environment was unhealthy 2 years ago.
I actually didn't enjoy it.
Yeah, it was. There's too much.
I understand, and it's kind of the unique nature of our state being first, and like I get it, and I actually like it. I hope we're always first, and I think in general it's a good thing for our state. I did not enjoy that walking around the lots. Like it was so polarized and like
it was hot, if I remember right. Like,
it was
people
just
were
not a good experience.
I saw more altercations in the stands than I have.
Yeah, like in it, like fan on fan because of the politics.
I don't think the politics didn't help. That's for sure. No, I again, any exposure is good for not only Iowa State but the Big 12. They need these games, and then honestly, it's on Iowa State a little bit here. You got to rep, like you got to show up for the Big 12. That's a big moment for the Big 12 in that game too, because I think Iowa will probably be ranked. I would assume.
I do too.
Iowa State will be borderline, depending on it. If it wins, it'll be top 15 in the country against K-State. If it loses, you might be fringy at that point, but that's a big game, and to get all 4 of those on national television is a great representative of where this Iowa State program is, and a tip of the cap to Matt Campbell. But now there's no slow starts here. Now it's time to perform because you're going to have eyeballs on you.
Yeah, and I'm, again, like I will say this. I think Iowa has a slight advantage based on the schedule.
Of not being worn out, being a little fresh.
And their first game is like Albany, I think, like somebody that they should not even, they play a half, play your starters a half. And Iowa State is in Ireland against a rival who's top 15.
Speaking of, Pat McAfee will be out there, so there's going to be a lot of attention on that thing that whole week.
Okay.
Everybody likes
Point
McAfee.
being, and I, Brent, I could make an argument that that Iowa State will be in mid-season form, and Iowa may not know what they have at that point, and they got a new quarterback, and right, like I could make that argument too. So this is not like a doomsday thing I'm spelling out here. I'm just hopefully chances are you can't be as injured as you were a year ago.
No.
Maybe Iowa State's going to have some good luck on that front this year. Going to be a mid-season form game against the Hawkeyes on September the 6th. It's possible.
Hey, Aiden, do we have a look-ahead line? I mean, we haven't had those yet, have we, C-Dub?
I haven't seen any games. No.
I would guess on May 29th, Iowa State favored by 3.5 in that game.
I was going to say Iowa State by like 2.5. So we're really close.
We're in the same boat.
But we're just messing around with the field goal.
Yeah. Hey, we got to get Fleeka on, though. Remember, we started this ball rolling back in December. Do you recall that conversation?
Yeah, this is all on us.
We told Fleeka, you need to get Big Noon out here. And he's like, oh, how about the Iowa State-Iowa game? And I was
Friend of the program.
Let's go. And then he helped you break. You have heard from him?
He said he had a hard push for this.
My man.
Aiden and Fleeka are like best friends. It's great.
Not only are we changing public policy, C-Dub, we literally got Big Noon Kickoff to Ames.
We're not changing anything. Now we just have the gambling people coming at our ass.
We really, trust me, I didn't really mean that. It wasn't us. Maybe
we are presented as always by Mechdyne. I want to thank our friends at Central States Roofing. They are a great supporter of everything we do here, and they're part of the Williams and Blum podcast family now. So thanks to our friends at Central States Roofing. Hopefully, knock on wood again, we haven't had much severe weather yet. But if we do, and your business out there, I just want you to remember our friends at Central States Roofing. If you ever need repairs, anything like that, they're the absolute best, locally owned, great people. We really appreciate them being on board with us here at Cyclone Fanatic. Same goes with our longtime friends over at Gravitate Co-working. Check them out at gravitatecoworking.com for all of your office and co-working needs. You can do anything from a mailbox to an entire office to a desk, anything. They got it all for you, baby. Our buddy Jeff Wood over there. Anything that we haven't gone over on the SEC thing? I don't see a lot that we didn't talk about on Tuesday. Like, to me, like, this is all quite predictable. The dialogue coming out of there, but no real news.
No, and there won't be a whole lot of news until later this summer, maybe early fall. I would say the phrase would be saber rattling, as they say in the old political world, like just a lot of posturing. I don't know where this is going to go. The one thing I thought it was interesting, C-Dub, is it came out that the SEC coaches all favored the 5+11 model, not the 4 automatic qualifier level. Because the trick here, Hassel did a really good job on your Iowa Everywhere program this morning of what they're fighting against here and why the Big Ten might help out in this scenario. The SEC is like, all right, here's the deal. We will go to 9 conference games if we get those 4 automatic schools in. Basically saying we want to be locked in no matter what our record is. I mean, that's what they're trying to do here. Like they're taking away any of the risk to the postseason there. Now, if it stays at 5+11, which the Big 12 and the ACC prefer, they're going to stay at 8. Because, again, they're worried about win-loss record impacting if they get an at-large or not. And so why the SEC is so concerned about this is they have to make their first move because they need to plan their 2026 conference schedule this summer. Mm-hmm. And so they need to know, are they playing 8 or are they playing 9 conference games? Worth noting, the Big Ten is playing 9 conference games. And has been. The ACC is not. That doesn't get brought up enough, by the way. The ACC only plays 8. Mm-hmm. And they at some point, everybody's got to get on the same page here to figure out, like, just have equal amounts of conference games. The fear, though, is if you give the Big Ten and the SEC the 4 automatic qualifiers, they just schedule each other now in the non-conference and completely box out the Big 12 and the ACC. The Cy-Hawk game goes away. Yes. I truly mean that. If that could be the first domino to go. If they get 4 automatic qualifiers, how do I want to localize this? The Cy-Hawk game goes away. Because there's no way that the Iowas of the world are going to play in Iowa State and play another SEC school like they're going to be mandated along with the 9 conference games. That won't happen. So, yeah, it just means a lot, and it means a lot to our state that the SEC not go with this, and Big Ten, go with this 4 automatic qualifier thing. I just wanted to bring that point to light.
No, that's good. I also thought Hassel made a good point this morning about, like, what? Don't put it past Sankey in the SEC to, like, push one thing and, like, actually want another to try and save face at the end of the day. Like, they could just be screwing with us right now and actually prefer the 5+11 thing.
Could be a negotiation tactic for sure.
And I mean, Sankey's. That's why I've made it very clear. Like, God, I really like your Mark being here because he is a politician. Like, I'm not. It's not a shot at the man. It's a compliment. Like, Bob Bowlesby would sit in a room and give you a handshake deal, and you knew he would tell you the truth. He was like everybody's grandpa, which is awesome. Great guy. Appreciate him. The problem is that ain't the real world in 2025, and you need another dude like Sankey, and that's what you have in your Mark.
When Texas and Oklahoma stabbed Bowlesby in the back, it changed college sports forever, and that was facilitated by one Greg Sankey.
Yes.
Aiden, because we're a pro Stuart Mandel podcast. If anybody follows this program for the last 5 years, can you pull up?
Love Stu.
Can you pull up Stuart Mandel's tweet from yesterday regarding the NBA Finals? This is the first Stu Mandel tweet I have ever agreed with in the last 6 years.
Oh wow!
And I thought it was just genius because, as some may know, we are staring right at the middle of an Oklahoma City, Indiana NBA Finals. You know that, C-Dub. So who would not like that? The TV partners.
The TV people.
The TV people are not going to like that. So Stuart had a great tweet, said, fearing an Indiana OKC Finals, the NBA is considering a plan where the Lakers and Celtics would get twice as many entries in the playoffs going forward and a double bye and twice as much of the postseason revenue. Stu Mandel. Hey, brilliant. Give it up for Stu Mandel. Thank you, Stu.
Way to go, Stu.
How are those crowds in California doing?
Did you hear my point on two guys this morning about the Pac-12?
Yeah.
I had never thought about it
Yeah,
like that,
that's
and
a great
Hassel led me down. And then, so my point is, like, what we're doing in college football is we just keep shoving things down people's throats, even if they don't ask for it. And and we're about to do that with basketball. I don't think March Madness will be popular. I don't think it will have the same mystique that it ever did at the 64 teams when we expand this thing. And the Big 12 is very guilty of this too. They're just as guilty. Don't even get me started on that. My point is, part of the reason the Pac-12 died, not the entire reason, but part of the reason the Pac-12 died is because of the late kickoffs. Well, why did they have the late kickoffs? Because that's what TV wanted from it when it purchased it. So, you're generally not going to buy a truck unless you're going to tow something, or if you need it for the truck bed, right? Like, if you're driving in New York City all the time, you probably don't need an F-150, right?
Yes.
The TV networks bought the Pac-12 so that they could play their games at night to fill that television slot. The problem was they didn't give a damn about the fans the whole time. And the fans finally said, screw it, we're not going to these games anymore because we're tired of having to be here until 1 o'clock in the morning every night.
Yep.
Okay? So, what we're doing, Brent, is you can press and you can press and you can press, but eventually the fans are going to hit back.
Yep.
And that is my fear. I think that's what happened with the Pac-12. You had guys like us, posting pictures. Oh, look at that crowd. It's terrible. Look at it here in Ames.
Yep.
And then you had guys like Stu.
Yep.
You had guys like Stu going, wow, we have beaches.
We got the beach.
The reality is there are Stanford football fans. There's a lot of them. But they finally hit their tipping point where they were like, screw you guys, I'm done. So what college football has to do is collectively find a way to evolve without alienating every person that has supported your product for however many years. And I don't know what the answer to that is. That's why those commissioners are getting paid millions of dollars, and I'm just here bitching about it on Cyclone Fanatic.
But that's also why, and I know I've seen a lot of the interaction on the forums, well, doesn't our government have bigger things to worry about? Probably. But let me give an example of where it can go if it goes poorly, to your Pac-12 example, C-Dubs. Washington State, perennially ranked in the top 25 over the last decade, right? Thanks to our guy Mike Leach and others.
Absolutely.
They
proud football fan base.
Very, when we think about that game in 18 and at the Alamo Bowl, it was 50-50, by the way. They brought a bunch of people, great people, very like-minded. Well, they get booted. Pac-12 dies, not on their own accord. Guess how many people they averaged at their home football games last year?
20,000?
21,000. They dropped by half. And again, they're not in the Pac-12 anymore, but to that point, they had started losing people already because they're getting tired of the college football ecosystem of always being, so you're right, the first domino will fall as people lose interest, and we're kind of teetering right now. And then by the time the whole thing falls apart, there's no getting back, the toothpaste back in the tube.
And we are not a part of this yet, thank God. You saw it even last year with that Cincinnati game.
Absolutely.
If that was a 1 o'clock kickoff, that place would have been full.
The night games get overwhelming for people when it gets cold, yeah.
Well, but again, why do we have all the night games now?
Yep.
It's because of TV. We've completely sold the industry to these people.
Yep.
And that's what they continue to do. It's nobody actually wants this Big Ten play-in tournament thing. Nobody's asking for the sixth place team in the Big Ten to have a chance to go to the playoff. Nobody wants that except the TV networks. That's why you're doing it.
Yep. But I think here's where I'll leave it on optimism and we'll get out of this conversation. I do think for the first time this week I've seen majority anti what the SEC is trying to do here. I think the public perception is shifting just enough. Now, will it be enough to save it? SEC still has all the gold, but
it feels like Sankey's getting really defensive.
I agree.
He's hearing it.
I think so.
Yeah.
And I don't know if it's going to ultimately matter, but at least people are wising up to what's going on here. And this is kind of the last stand, hopefully.
Can we be honest? Dude has a hard job. Like
Well, this isn't about him. I never want to make these things personal.
No, but I guess my point is his job is to do what's best for the SEC, and like we're all kind of anointing him like that he should be doing this other stuff, which I believe he should. Like I thought about this is incredibly hyperbolic, but coming from me, it won't surprise you. Like I had this guy on Twitter. I opened myself up to all the Big Ten and the SEC haters, which was fine. I don't care. I was in your world for a day.
Real intelligent lot.
And the guy responded to me and he yelling at me and swearing at me. And this guy goes, well, that's not his job to fend for all of you poor, pathetic losers and yada, yada, yada. And I was going to respond and I didn't because it could be taken out of context. And of course, I'm not comparing this to nuclear war. But what if JFK during the Cuban Missile Crisis would have been like, screw it. Like, all I care about is America. Mm-hmm. You know, whatever happens in any of the other countries, like, F you. Like that, right? Like, that's not real leadership. My point is, I think everybody wants the Big Ten and the SEC to be like true leaders here and not just be these greedy egomaniacs. That's what we all need. It's what we need in this country right now. It's like our leaders to come together and like actually solve something as opposed to just yelling at each other all the time.
Yep. Sometimes compromise is okay. It doesn't mean you lost. I guess it's kind of my philosophy on life.
So I probably made the right decision to not bring up the missile crisis.
Yeah, probably good. Probably good there. You're maturing right in front of our eyes.
Something like that. All right. We're not going to have time for mailbag questions because Bloom has to get to a meeting and Aiden has fun podcast coming up that we're going to record right now. What do we have coming up with Woody and Mahoney?
Ari Temkin, voice of the Big 12.
My guy Ari.
Essentially. He's down at the Big 12 meeting, so he'll have great insight on all that stuff. He's great.
Really good dude. He came and hang out with us at our event that we had at the Big 12 championship game this year with We Will. Really good dude. I'm actually going to hop on a call here with former Cyclone Paul Shirley.
Hey, I saw Paul last month.
I know you did. Yeah, he's got a new book coming out, and I'm going to help him promote that just a little bit.
I was at a session, it was not sports related, about this book, and man, everybody needs to hear this because I think he's onto something there with this idea. And cool for Paul. By the way, he told me this, and maybe he'll bring it up, offhand. He and Larry are like A-okay now, which is awesome. Because I know there was some public perception of, they're picking sides.
Well, when we interviewed Larry, he didn't want to talk about Paul because it was uncomfortable.
But they saw each other at that reunion again. That's why I'm so happy that reunion happened.
So good.
And everything seems really good with Larry and Paul now.
That's awesome.
Makes me feel good.
Very cool. All right. Thanks to all of our great sponsors. Thank you to Aiden for producing this show. Bloom, we're off on Sunday. Brend and Duke are going to do it for us.
There we go. We'll get
Aiden,
upgrade.
I'm telling you this now too.
Don't worry, they already told me about it.
I'm gonna go down to the lake for just a couple of days, but I'll be back on Wednesday so we can do our midweek one. But I gotta get the hell out of here for a few days. He's Brent Blum, Aiden Wyatt. My name is Chris Williams. Thank you for hanging out with us here on Cyclone Fanatic.